Thank you for tuning in and listening. We are delighted to welcome you to the podcast of Fiona Arrigo, founder of the award-winning Arrigo Programme and A Place to Heal. Fiona Arrigo is one of the foremost internationally acclaimed intuitive healers, a biodynamic psychotherapist, mentor and life teacher, and acknowledged as a leader in her field. In this episode, Fiona talks about hope and rebirth. What are we seeding for our new world?
Thank you. So I would love us to, any of us that have a candle, please light it. And if you don't have a candle, please don't worry. Just make a prayer inside yourself. So the candle is for peace for our planet, for all our relations, and for the planting today of the seeds of hope and vision and newness. So here is my candle. We are in serious times. And we are also in magnificent times. And my hope is when you join us on Sunday Sanctuary, that this is a place where your hearts can really rest. It's a place of connection. And these Sundays are really here to nourish you, to unite us, to bring us together. This is out of all the words, and I'll use many, and you will hear many through these times, but togetherness is a key time. Somebody wrote to me this morning before we started and said, I don't know, something like, good luck, the world needs you. And it was kind, but I really thought that's so wrong. The world doesn't need me, the world needs us. The world needs us together as a unified field. It is no longer about the singular or indeed the selfish. If we are going to ride this birth and this transformational process, it has to be together and really to connect together, really vivifying and strengthening our interconnection. So Sundays, traditionally a long, long time ago, which actually takes me into my childhood, being a long, long time ago. And they were in those days. I mean, my daughter sometimes said to me, in your day, did you have lights and did you have gas and things like that? Yes, I did. But Sundays were very much a day of rest. And in those days, they were governed around church and service and family. But I would love us all to consider, within the rest that we're in right now, that we return on Sundays to reverence and rest, to rest in the self, to rest in natural great peace. We cannot offer more to life, and I will be repeating this week after week after week after week. One, because I want you to strengthen in this, and two, humbly, I need to get these lessons as deeply. So learning to rest, and on a Sunday, through the rest, coming back into reverence and coming back into awe. Like last week, I talked about grief and atonement. And this week, I would love to talk more about hope and, in a way, our own inner activism, and really beginning to strengthen this. I spent a long time, it seems, it's interesting now, as we come into this wave. And I think about the talk that I gave at Goop and the workshop, the retreat I gave in Spain last year on evolutionary woman, and the retreat we've just recently come out of in India. And it was all about these new codes of living, and primarily as we are, all of us, beloveds, coming into a birth, coming in, no doubt, amongst the debris, amongst the Pluto and Capricorn, amongst everything being decimated and thrown up and cleansed and purged and fired. We are coming in also to the potential of a new human being. And in my studies and my looking, I see this as one of the leaders being that as we plant new seeds of being, as we plant new seeds of hope, as we come in to these new, not that it's never been here before. What is different this time is that all of us have a chance to do it together. And the importance is all of us must do it together. We must do this work together. So one of the shifts is learning to care. Really learning to care for each other, learning to care for the planet. Learning that as our lives contribute to the whole, singular selfish thinking will not work anymore if we are to survive and transcend and learn from what we have been doing. This is one of the big, big shifts in the paradigm of hope and newness. Learning to care, learning to come together, and coming out of singular thinking. We are learning to become heart-based creatures. And as we come into our heart coherence, there is a miracle that is always here beneath the turmoil, beneath the debris, beneath the terror, beneath the deaths, beneath all of it, which is serious. But there is a coherence of the earth's heartbeat. And when we come into living as caring, generous, heartfelt creatures or beings, we come into that natural harmonic resonance that through the past age we have decimated. In all the ways we know, in all the ways that we've been reflecting, we have disturbed the electromagnetic field of the planet. So we need in our inner activism to come back to a coherence of the heart that brings us in every moment that we can possibly cultivate a harmony. You know, last night I stayed up. If I look tired, oh, I didn't put my lighting on. That's tiredness. I have a lighting that may make me look less tired. But I stayed up last night and joined in with this global world meditation, which went on from 3:45 in the morning, and I stayed with it till 5 a.m. So forgive me if I'm a bit more slow, because I'm sleepless in a way. But the importance of this timing was also that there was a really, and I'm not an astrologer, I'm an intuitive. I feel what's going on, and I talk from that place. So, you know, if I get my facts slightly wrong, meet me with generosity. What I'm trying to do is paint a picture for you. And for those that don't know, in the early hours of today, we moved into a very, very powerful Pluto-Jupiter conjunct. And that also brings the reflection of hope. Because Pluto in Capricorn has been doing her business. Pluto is, for those that don't know, the planet of the planet of death, of destruction, of soul emergence, of destroying anything that isn't all the old paradigms, all the old structures. And we've seen this over the last 30 odd years, whereas we as new visionaries start to reclaim our visions and our knows, we've also seen structures falling apart decade after decade, the falling apart of the church, the falling apart of things that aren't clean, the falling apart of the Me Too rising, the falling apart of people calling for justice. This is all to do with Pluto ramming things and bringing things to light. Pluto brings things from the deep unconscious into the conscious. And so we as a planet we as a people on this planet have been purging, initiating, but slightly sleepily thinking in our disconnect that nothing really affects us. This has been the great sleep, the great numbing, where we think we're not connected because we've lost our threads of interconnectedness. And this is what this great time is being, amongst everything that we look at that is for sure scary and is for sure making us super vulnerable, because what we've had is breaking down. And then we get activated right now, last night, with Jupiter coming in. And Jupiter is the energy of the great transformer, the bringer of light, the bringer of wisdom. So we have a very high activation. Don't ask me how long it's lasting for. I know, but I can't bring that forward. But right now we have this very strong activation of everything coming up, being purged. And yet the bringer of light, the great transformer, and also the bringing of deeper discernment, which is an absolute necessary in your medicine pouch, and deeper wisdom. There are certain things you need to carry in your medicine pouch, and I'm mentioning as we go along: care, wisdom, generosity, coming out of selfishness, coming into togetherness. These all need to be cultivated on an almost minute to minute, turning your attention into something else for now, so that we can, in the middle of everything, rebuild and reform and birth through this birth canal that we talked about last week, something new, which is about a newer future, a new paradigm. When we come out of selfish thinking, I also want you to know that there's no guarantees here. You know, in our entitled, greedy, if I do this, I'll get that thinking, this has been burnt. My prayer to you, my prayer to myself, my prayer to my family is that we begin to dedicate our lives to something bigger than our own personal lives. We begin to make our prayers, cultivate our dreams, and vision with all our might and all our hopes into a new way on earth. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen today or tomorrow or the next week. And this requires us to mature. We have to grow up, people. We need to grow up. This is a serious time, and we need to take responsibility for our individuality and what we are putting into the global field. This has never, ever, ever been more important. Take a breath. We have the potential, and in a way right now we are the dreamers of the new, the collective way, to dream in the return of love and wisdom and discernment on our planet Earth. And for me, this is our call to action, is to come together in this moment, to come together in love and wisdom, and also hope. Hope is connected to vision. Hope is the belief that your personal life right now in this moment can make a difference. And this is what we have to start dreaming. We have come from hundreds of years of being disempowered, of following, of being victims, of being martyrs, of being powerless. This is not a moment to be powerless. If we want our world to survive for our children and our great children and our great children, if we want our earth to heal, to take some pressure off her, and if we want to come into something that does it differently, it has to start with you. Now is the time, as Marianne Williamson said, but very differently. I think she said something about don't be afraid of your greatness. Now is the time to really burn bright, to feel that spark in your heart, to find that kernel, that petal, that place inside your heart that has a new dream, that isn't exhausted, that still is refreshed, that can still rise like the sun on a new dawn. It's to grab that intentionality and really make this into a prayer field. To survive and to thrive and to come through this, we need this global field of hope and intentionality. And in this moment, and there are many, many very strong movements coming astrologically, in this moment, this is like our preparation pause moment where we can gather our wits back in as this global psychic soup of being bombarded every 45 seconds with something coming through. It's still going on, I know this, but there is also a pause, a breath where the traffic isn't pounding. where the shops aren't open, where people aren't marching through the streets, where the tubes aren't crowded, where we're not on crazy, I've got to get an Uber right now. That rush, bustle is slowing down. And in this slowing down, we are getting to practice, we are being given time to rest and reset and plant our visions and our hopes and our dreams and believe in yourself. This is not going to church. This is not giving your power away to God. This is absolutely coming in right now in our togetherness to believe at some point in time, our prayers, our hopes and visions are creating the new world. And for that, we need to come out of disempowerment, selfish individuality, and really begin to think of the other. Take a breath. You know, I've been thinking through the days as we come into awe and as we come into reverence with Mother Nature, with Mother Earth, that in this moment she's woken us up and put us like naughty children in our rooms to think and to reflect. She's put us in our rooms as only a great mother would do and go to your room and think about your actions. And so we need to go to our rooms and think about our actions. But also go to your room thinking about your actions, knowing that that everything is forgiven and we can regrow. This is the great compassion. This is the seal of the great compassion. This is the seal away from our forgetfulness, our lack of reverence, our lack of awe, our taking, our grabbing, our hoarding, our collecting, our storing. We have forgotten, as I so often say, to look up at the sky and look down at the earth and know what we are really connected to. These are our connections. And so the coherence of the heart, the coherence of hope, the coherence of unified prayer is that we come back in our days of rest to the hall of reverence. And we rest so that we can gather and recover enough of our wasted energy. And the more we gather, the more we rest, the more we can dream into a new way. The earth herself, I believe, Gaia Mother will survive. She has survived fiery ages, frozen ages, dinosaurs coming, dinosaurs dying, world wars, plagues. She has survived. What she wants us to do is come into harmony with her. So we're not loading her all the time, that we wake up and we work with her and we get conscious. It's a magnificent time amongst the absolute terror. It is a magnificent time. So within this, we need to do a lot of mind housekeeping. And as I said a minute ago, everything we are doing is creating anew. We must believe this. Even you have to surrender this oh, I've been doing this for 2 years and it hasn't worked. Or whatever we all say, or yesterday I was happy, why am I sad today? You have to come out, we have to come out of that one-pointed thinking. And so we need to develop, put in your medicine basket, patience. We need to develop diligence in really focusing our minds as many times in the day as we can to birth our future selves. I was reading this huge essay, actually. I don't know if you know his work, but he's very interesting. Charles Essenstein. I hope I pronounced his name right. Anyway, forgive me, Charles, if I've got it wrong. But anyway, he says, COVID-19 is like a rehab intervention that breaks the addictive hold of normality. To interrupt a habit is to make it visible. It is to turn it from a compulsion to a choice. When the crisis subsides, we might have occasion to ask whether we want to return to normal, or whether there might be something we've seen during this break in the routines that we want to bring into our future. So begin to make your vision, do a vision board, write it in a journal, have something that you can look at every day when you ask the question, what do you want our future world to look like? And dare to dream, dare to hope. I'm laughing because I can hear my beloved singing upstairs. There's an interruption. Dare to hope and sing. Actually, I'll talk about that in a minute. So again, last week I spoke about in the Shadowlands, this is where the work is. So everything that we've done, seen, been, corrupted, it's a chance for us to cleanse those out of our systems. And last week I talked about the great prayer, and please continue to do this into every single aspect of your life, to every single person. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Keep saying that, keep saying that, keep saying that, keep saying that. Because as activators into the new, we want to emerge from this as being as neutral and as clear, as crystal clear as we can be. So we self-reflect, we self-examine, and we build our own internal church. This is the age of Aquarius. It's not an outside church, it's an internal church for our hopes and visions. So one of the questions for this week is, how do you want the world to be different from the past? How do you want the world to be different from the past? And one of the ways I believe is we need to get out of hoarding. We have hoarded and greedified, it's not a word, and built in this avarice and this need, which in compassion has come from survival and scarcity. but it's also because we've come out of harmony. And so we have a need to feed and hoard. And in this hoarding, we have created a huge imbalance. Those that have, those that don't. We cannot survive and thrive anymore with those that don't. We can't do it. We need to be generous. I mean, there was something amazing that I was reading the other day, and again, don't call me on facts, but it was something like all the money that our governments have invested into weapons and atom bombs, if that money was regenerated, it could feed all the hungry in the world. We need to do it differently. And in these seeds that we're all growing towards, and as we come together in our heart tribes and all different circles that you belong to, this currency to come out of take, and somehow walk by and think it's okay. When people are starving or homeless or abused or hurt, in our minds and in our hearts, this is going to take time. This isn't like, boom, we come off this and we're in a new world. The lack of selfishness and the field of compassion and the field of generosity is dedicating our lives right now for the good of all, in the smallest ways that we can, which is the starting point, is just to have that as a reflection. As in any school of life, we always have been, the daily school of life. Every single day, particularly now, we are getting lessons. It's just something about our arrogance that we didn't listen. And now, in this great pause, in this great terror, turn your attention in. Slow down. Listen. Plant seeds of hope that new world order can come, but it comes from you, every single one of you, and every single person you know. So let's encourage people to dream and think and feel and be creatively in our minds into a new world order. And don't think about result. That's old paradigm thinking. That's like, if you do this, you'll get that. If you take this exam, you'll go to this next point. It's all this, even though we may not know it or feel it directly today, all that is divisive and it won't work anymore. We are coming into a potential global reframe, but it comes from the inside out. We have been living from the outside in. We have been in the age of distraction. So as we pause and rest and be, we think, we learn to turn in, to start thinking, being differently. And this is what I call hope. This is the hope. Don't look out. I mean, sure, look out and talk about 5G and all these things that are going on. They're real and we need to be aware, for sure. But the real work is coming out of judgments, coming out of projections, coming out of criticism, getting as light, not floating off in a dolphin, getting as light as spring cleaned, as cleaning, doing your deep internal housekeeping so you can be light and position yourself as an act of generosity into the collective, to use your minds and hearts differently. This is inner activism. Take a breath. I really wish and pray today that you can draw strength from yourself and from each other. And you can lay down the false self that nothing I do makes any difference and everybody in the world has got it wrong. That ain't gonna work anymore. We need to restore so we can have the energy to turn our attention in to do it differently. Okay. I also want to call on all women as the birthers and the midwives not to exclude our beautiful men, and certainly not to exclude our brothers. But women, through our ages, pre-feminism, knew how to gather water, knew how to cook, knew how to create communities, knew how to birth. This is written into the fibers of the ancestors of our being. And in the same way that our men have been born from our mothers, it is written into the fibers of our being. We know how to do this. This is the cycle of life. It's just somewhere in junk DNA, maybe in the battle of good and bad. All sorts of things can be in here. We have lost this connection. So I'm going to embrace and ask you to plant something, plant and water every day. Grow something every day, literally. Get a plant and water it and care for it as a mindful practice, as a dedication of putting your prayer back into Mother Earth and saying, thank you, I am here. If you've got a garden, put your hands into the earth. Take your shoes off and walk on the resonance of the earth so her harmonic frequency can rebalance you and come back into respect and regeneration. She can do this. She can do this. Look what she's done. And we can do this as her children. Cook. Make prayers, dance, sing. To sing and to dance is to raise your vibration. Is sing and dance when you get sad, when you get scared, when you get lonely, when you do. Dance as a unified field in a service to raise your vibration. We have to think about sending the currents of our energy up as a prayer field and down into the earth. So we're going to do that in a minute. We're going to have a little dance together. Also, we need to be thinking about calming the nervous system down as much as we can. I've gone back to using a really old Edgar Cayce castor oil pack, which I do 2 or 3 times a week. You can look it up if you don't know about it, but basically it's putting castor oil on a flannel over your liver with a hot water bottle and staying like that for 40 minutes. It's amazing for the immune system, but it also calms the nervous system down. Another great calmer is do alternate nostril breathing. That is an incredible, that balances the left and the right side of the body. It calms the parasympathetic nervous system down. The yogis will know how to do this, the yoginis will know how to do this, but it's breathing in. Always start on your left, breathe in for 6, 8 counts, hold both nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out for 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, breathe in for 8, hold for 4, breathe out, breathe in. You can look it up, but it's really balances the systems, and I would suggest, if you can, to do that for half an hour a day, particularly before you go to sleep, because you will get very activated at night. Your dreams may get stronger. The disturbances in the field, you may feel more, because we are coming into an age of transparency. We are coming into an age of telepathy. We are coming into this age of togetherness. And so we're vulnerable. We'll feel the collective upset. But also, as you pray, as you dream, as you hope, that also before you go to sleep at night, ask for the protection. Do your meditations. Make prayers to whoever you pray to, your angels, your Buddha, your guru, whoever you make prayers to. Make prayers so that you can have safe passageway, and that the world, as she sleeps in different time zones, can have safe passage. We need to include each other in our prayers. So we're not just praying for you and your family, you're praying for the earth. You're praying for each other. You're praying for a group that maybe isn't fed, maybe hasn't got water. You turn your attention into the field of generosity and compassion, praying for a new, more harmonious world. Love, trust, sharing, togetherness, interconnectedness is the new currency. Money is going to take on a very different spiral, a hugely different spiral. The currency for living in the new is togetherness and caring, love, and our visions and our hopes. And as I said earlier, we need to mature. We need to come out of whiny, demanding, niggling little, I've got to have children, into a maturity, into a sovereignty. And as we grow into this maturity, this spiritual maturity, and this sovereignty, together, we are co-creating our new earths. You know, when we think of what a true sovereign is, it's not a sovereign who dominates and is tyrannical and divides and conquers. The true sovereign serves people, serves life, and respects life, has reverence. We are beginning to practice a whole new way. And we have the potential, we really, really have the potential in this magnificent moment, which will carry on and carry on and carry on. We're just in the first wave of this global reset. As I said before, this is unprecedented. This has never, ever happened. We are in this together. Color, race, creed, rich, poor, smart, successful, unsuccessful, whatever these divisions are, it's all going in this moment. So let's fertilize that moment. Let's fertilize this moment. Really take from this all these prayers, all these medicines, all these things that are gifts that are waking us up all the way through our meridian systems, all the way through our nadis, seals of unconsciousness becoming conscious. This is great. We have the potential to build a new world. And in this new world, it's shining through the cracks of separation. So we need, I'm going to end here now and open this up. We need huge, I would say Mary Poppins spoonfuls of hope, of dedication, of belief, to plant and water our own internal wisdoms, to take stock, to know that we can do it differently together, to have the maturity to know that this will take time, and to grow out of selfishness that just because we're doing it, we need to see it now. That ain't going to happen. We have to grow up. This is a new beginning, I believe this, where we are evolving beyond our own. So I'm going to unmute us, or Margita will. What I would love us is to talk today about any hopes, nurturances, dedications, visions, beliefs that you may have, so you can inspire and notice and nurture each other. So anybody that wants to bring that as an offering into the collective new, this would be so appreciated.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed this episode, please do comment, like, subscribe and share so that we can collectively assist more people in these times. And for further information, social links and resources, please visit www.thearrigoprogramme.com. Until the next episode, be well and look after yourself. Sending you our blessings. Goodbye for now.